welcome everyone to our Superfoods for Health and Beauty. And I am Marj with allnaturalcosmetics.com and also the owner of Natural Spa. And I would like to talk to you right now about absorption of ingredients in your skin. Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? If you want to look at the first handout I gave you, you may wonder, well, how much is absorbed actually in your skin? There have been some studies done, as it says here at the University of Pittsburgh, where they studied contaminants in public drinking water, and they found that about 64% is absorbed in your body, and also it can be up to 100% depending on what it is. It says caffeine is absorbed through the skin at 48%, while DDT is absorbed at 10%, and fragrance, which is used in so many body care products, is absorbed 100%. So that is a major issue because a lot of fragrance contains chemicals unless it's an essential oil fragrance. So it's very important to scrutinize your products to see if there's any fragrance in them, because fragrance has been shown to cause neurotoxin issues. So that is a main concern with absorption. Also, if you go to the second handout, I'm just going to briefly go through this. The author wrote a book, Look Great, Live Green, and she talks about absorption, correlating it to when someone has a nicotine patch that they're wearing to try to stop smoking. And so obviously that is being absorbed into the skin if it's, you know, right on your skin like that. So many people question, well, can a skincare product be absorbed? Well, look at a nicotine patch. Isn't it pretty much the same kind of thing? It's right on your skin. So that's proof right there about absorption. She talks about the top products to look for to make sure that they have quote-unquote clean ingredients. Number one is anything you soak in. So bubble bath. I don't know if any of you still do that. That was a thing more of the past, I think, or for little kids. But if you're soaking in it, you really need to look at what are the ingredients in it. Number two, anything you apply and do not wash off. So that is a lot of product. Could be your facial creams, your makeup, any kind of body oils. Those are all staying on your body. Number three is body powder. Number four is shampoo and conditioner, and you may think, well, that's just going on my hair. Well, actually it's going over your whole body because you're washing and you're rinsing, and it's going all over your skin. So it's important to know what is in your hair care products. Number five, any product you put on your child. A child's skin is very delicate, and it's appalling to me that baby wipes contain really bad ingredients. I was shocked. I had a customer came in here and she brought all of her products that were underneath her sink for me to look at to tell her if they contain toxins. And she showed me the baby wipes, and I looked at the ingredients, and I could not believe the chemicals that they're putting in baby wipes. It's a crime to me, because children shouldn't be exposed to those kind of chemicals when they're an infant. You know, right from the start, they're being exposed to bad chemicals. If you go on the next page, it talks about the top 10 products to avoid or scrutinize. And on there, what I feel is the most important, besides baby wipes, is number 8, deodorant. Deodorant is going underneath your arms, and your underarm area is considered one of the most delicate areas of your body, that it can be absorption at a higher level. And so I tell people, if you You want to find at least 1 or 2 things to change in your body care to natural. You should stick with a natural deodorant, and the other one would be a natural lipstick. And that's because you are actually eating your lipstick. You may not think about that, but put it on in the morning, and then what are you going to do through the day? You're going to lick your lips, you're going to eat something, you're going to drink some water, and then the lipstick is gone. Well, where did it go? In your body. So those are the 2 items that I'm very strong about changing. And then if you want to go to the third handout, the top 5 foods that work internally and topically to make your skin glow. There's some interesting things you can have around your house to put on your skin topically that you can eat, but they're also good for your skin and good internally. And the first one is yogurt. You can make a mask using yogurt. The second one is bananas, and they also mention that for a facial mask and also as a scrub. And then the third item, you probably may not want to do it just straight, but they mention caffeine. And caffeine does have the ability to increase circulation and plump up your skin, and we actually have a product here that has some caffeine in it. It's an eye cream, and it helps to plump up your skin. The fourth one is pumpkin. Pumpkin is an excellent product for your skin, a high amount of vitamin A in it. And the last one is blueberries. So now we need to get to the scientific part of the superfoods, and I would like to introduce a new naturopath in Prescott Valley. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Kimberly Harris.
I'm super excited to be here today doing a class on superfoods for health and beauty. I do have an 8-month-old baby, and she's decided to sprout 2 teeth at the same time and stop breastfeeding. And so we've had a couple of rough nights, so I'm kind of, a little on the tired side, so I hope you'll bear with me. But I am really excited to meet all of you. And yeah, so I go by Dr. Kim Harris, and I work just down the street at the Women's Health and Healing Center. I work mainly with women who are kind of apprehensive about the aging process, who are looking for healthcare solutions to help you look and feel younger. So we do a lot of pain management. I work with acupuncture, botanical medicine, herbs, homeopathy. I do supplementation, and I also do bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And we're going to introduce a cosmetic version or cosmetic part to our practice where we'll be doing non-surgical facelifts. And so if you're interested in that, you can come and talk to me afterwards, but it's kind of an exciting new technology that we're going to be adding in the next couple of months. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Prescott. My whole family still lives here, so my husband and I moved back after I finished naturopathic medical school, which is a 4-year program, and we are licensed in Arizona as primary care physicians. So we have the ability to prescribe drugs, but we choose to use natural remedies first and foremost, and then if something stronger is necessary, then we have that ability. I was a teacher for 4 years. I taught high school, and so teaching has always been a passion of mine. So I really enjoy going out and talking to people and sharing the things that I'm passionate about, which is today happens to be superfoods, but there's a lot of other things as well. So let's get started. I'm sure you've heard of the word superfood. It's kind of a buzzword that's around, and it's not really a strict definition of food, but it's kind of just a category of foods that are higher in nutrient content and generally lower in calories. Not all the time. You can see I've got some oils and nuts up here, and those do have a higher calorie content, but they're good fats, and so we'll talk about those in a little bit. So I'm sure a lot of you, I heard some of you talking earlier about the different kinds of foods that you already eat in your life, lots of vegetables and stuff like that. And so I'm sure you realize the value of, my mom, the value of eating healthily. The President's Council on Fitness has come out with a few statistics. They've found that even just reducing the amount of sodium that we eat could reduce health care costs by over $20 billion a year. So that's simple change in our diet. Well, maybe not simple, but a small thing that you can do has a big impact on healthcare costs. Obesity-related expenditures are $1 in every $6 in the U.S. that for healthcare costs, and less than 5% of adults get 30 minutes or more of exercise 5 days a week. So you can see that it is a problem in our country, and so I'm just out here trying to encourage people to eat the best they can and be healthy. My dad is always asking me questions. He's constantly asking me all these questions that, I don't know, Dad, don't ask me that anymore. I don't know what you're talking about. But when I graduated, he asked me what the most important thing I learned from my medical education was, and it took me a little while to think about that. But I realized that that nutrition has such a profound impact on our health. I saw patients in the clinic and have seen patients afterwards that come in with chronic pain, and changing their diet makes a huge impact on their pain. I saw people come in who were pre-diabetic, and without any drugs or any medications, changing their diet and simple supplementation, they were not pre-diabetic anymore. They don't even have to worry about that. I saw people come in who were terribly fatigued, and changing their diet to something that's personalized for them and increasing fruits and vegetables, their energy went way up. So I saw over and over again how working with nutrition can help people feel and look so much better. It's just amazing. So 4 years and all these really cool things that I learned in school, and that very basic fundamental thing that I learned is kind of the most profound. So let's start talking about some of our superfoods. I was just going to give you a couple of examples. We got some up here, some quinoa, different types of beans, almonds, olive oil. We've got oatmeal up here, and there's a huge variety beyond that. All kinds of berries, like salmon. What else do we got? Broccoli, yogurt, turkey, tomatoes. So it's probably some stuff that you already have in your diet, so maybe this presentation will just encourage you to add a little bit more into your diet. So first I wanted to start off with some kale. Who has tried kale? All right. I love kale. Kale is one of my favorite all-time foods. My husband was laughing at me when I was doing this presentation for him because I love kale so much. I put it in everything. Kale is very high in all kinds of nutrients. Like 1 cup of kale has, I think it's over 1,000% of the vitamin K that you need, many, many times over the amount of vitamin C and vitamin A as well. It contains a lot of antioxidants, which are protective against cancer. It contains nutrients that are beneficial to the eye, so if you have any kind of macular degeneration or vision loss, kale is an excellent vegetable for that. It's super low in calories, and the really cool thing about kale is that it's a little bit bitter. And in the U.S., we don't eat a lot of bitter foods, but bitter foods can help with your digestion a lot. So if you've got some kind of gassiness or trouble with upset stomach after meals, eating a little bit of bitter food like kale can really help. We were talking about preparing kale before, and some of the ladies mentioned kale chips, which are absolutely delicious and super addicting. So that's one way that you can prepare them. You can bake them or put them in a dehydrator and add all kinds of different things to them. Lemon, salt, a little bit of olive oil is delicious. You can kind of make a cashew butter type thing that makes them taste kind of cheesy. You can saute kale and use that as a side dish. You can steam it. You can chop it up in a salad. And anywhere that you might have spinach, you can add kale, and it actually packs a little bit more of a nutritional punch than spinach does, which is interesting because you know, we've learned for years the spinach is a great food, and it is, but kale is like up here. So I've got this delicious kale salad to share, and it's a really simple recipe. I actually haven't made it before, but when I was making it last night, I was like, oh, that went really quickly. It's just chopped up kale, and then I made my own dressing for it. So the recipe is on the back if you want to check out the ingredients, on the back of my handout with the one that's stapled to my card. So all 3 recipes that we're going to be eating today. Yeah, so all the recipes are on there. So this doesn't have any dairy in it. The recipe calls for cheese, and this is a pecorino cheese. So if you want to add a little bit, you can, because the recipe calls for it, but I didn't want to put any in there if anybody was dairy sensitive. So I'm going to pass around the kale salad, and you guys can take a little bit and try it. All right? One of the other ingredients that's in here is olive oil, which has gotten also a lot of press in the last few years. It's a great source of good, healthy fats, which can help lower cholesterol and can actually also help manage blood sugars. So if your blood sugars have been a little high, adding good quality oils in can really help manage that. You want to make sure that you're buying extra virgin, organic olive oil, and it's a low heat oil, or low to medium heat oil, so you don't want to fry in it, but it's good for sauteing and that kind of stuff. So now Marj is going to share a couple of products with us that contain some olive oil in it. So I'm going to let her talk about those a little bit.
You've probably all heard that olive oil is good for your skin. In fact, you can use olive oil to cleanse your skin or moisturize your skin. We have a product that's an olive squalane oil, and it is a finer type of olive oil. Olive oil can be a little bit heavy, but this is an olive oil that's a lighter weight oil, and it's actually very similar to your skin sebum, so it's very acceptable to your skin, and I'd be glad to pass around this and you can take a sample.
Next we're going to talk about quinoa, which is always a funny word to say. A lot of people might say quinoa, but it's actually quinoa. And this is the type that I use. So there are several different types of quinoa, and they have different flavors, which is something I didn't actually know. So I was using kind of the yellowish looking quinoa. And at Trader Joe's they have this red, and then they also have a white quinoa. And they have a completely different flavor. The yellowish quinoa has a really strong nutty flavor that I'm not a huge fan of. But these types that they have at Trader Joe's actually have a little bit of a lighter flavor. Quinoa is also an antioxidant, so it's cancer protective. It's got some anti-inflammatory properties to it. It has a little bit of heart healthy fat, and then the really cool thing about quinoa is that it has protein in it. So when you eat pastas or rice, it doesn't really have much protein in it, but if you substitute quinoa for those dishes, then you add a little bit more protein to your dish. So it's a whole grain and it's got a little bit of protein in it.
It's actually a full protein.
Oh, okay,
It has
great.
all 80 of your amino acids in it, so it's a full protein.
Yeah, quinoa is really an amazing grain. I'm glad it's becoming more popular and that you can get it places now. You know, you cook it just like rice. You should wash it thoroughly before you use it, and I would recommend just trying different flavors and seeing which kind you like. My favorite is actually the white quinoa. I got the red last time. But you can use it anywhere that you use pasta, so I use it under stir-fried dishes. I've even thrown it into a pasta dish with red sauce and, you know, some meat and vegetables. So it just is a way to bump up the nutritional content in your meals, but still have kind of a little bit of a complex carbohydrate in there as well. Another cool way to cook quinoa is as a breakfast cereal. Instead of oatmeal, which doesn't have much protein in it, you can add a little bit more with your quinoa, and I cook it in an alternative milk. So I cook it in like an almond or coconut milk, and that makes it a little sweeter. And you can add everything that you would add to your oatmeal: cinnamon, blueberries, also superfood, and you know, you can add a little bit of maple syrup if you want it to be a little sweeter. So there's lots of different ways that you could incorporate quinoa into your daily diet. So we're gonna taste some quinoa salad. And again, the recipe is on the back, and I am fairly certain that it doesn't have any gluten in it, but check.
I buy that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the quinoa is definitely gluten-free. And this has a little bit of spinach in it, and lots of garlic. So if you're not a garlic fan, watch out. I'm gonna pass this one around. And also this one,
It is good.
that dish also calls for the cheese. So if you wanna put a little bit on top of that, you can if you're not avoiding dairy. The other superfood that's included in this recipe is tomatoes. And tomatoes are a great source of lycopene, but they're also a good source of vitamin A, C, and E, which are antioxidants, and they fight free radicals. And free radicals are what cause damage in the blood vessels, and that's what leads to cancer. So we have to have all of these antioxidants on the other side to reduce the oxidative stress that's caused by free radicals, like from the sun and from, toxins and that kind of stuff. The interesting thing about lycopene is that you get the most lycopene from your tomatoes when they're cooked. And the way that they found that out was that men who had lower rates of prostate cancer, which is what lycopene is really good for, were men who ate a lot of pasta sauce and pizza. So they started doing research into that and looking at why these men were getting less prostate cancer. And it's actually the cooked. So you can eat it whole, raw for a lot of the health benefits, but to get the lycopene out of it, it should be cooked. And Marj has a couple of samples for us, or one sample for us that contains tomato. I'm going to let her talk.
We have a mask here. It's an Italian tomato leaf mask. And it does mention about the lycopene in here. I'm not sure about the form of the tomato in here, if it's cooked or, I imagine it is. But anyway, it's a wonderful thing to use on your skin to draw the impurities from your complexion.
All right, so kind of our dessert dish for today contains blueberries, which the skin of blueberries is really high in antioxidants. So you'll notice that that's a theme throughout a lot of these foods, is that they contain a lot of antioxidants, and those are what protect us from environmental stress. They have a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, so if you've got like joint inflammation or even cardiovascular disease is a type of inflammation. So blueberries are excellent for any kind of inflammatory process that you've got going on. They're really great for the eyes as well. So kale and blueberries, if you've got any kind of eye problems, can really help strengthen that and rebuild some of those tissues that are in the eye. The darker the skin of the berry, the better. That means they contain more antioxidants. And the great thing about blueberries is that you can eat them frozen, and they contain the same amount of nutrients as when they're fresh. So even when it's not summertime and we don't have those delicious fresh blueberries, you can go to Costco and get their big bag and enjoy blueberries year round. I like to throw them into smoothies. You can put them in oatmeal, in pancakes. We eat protein smoothies a lot and put blueberries into that, and you can cook them in things, bake them in things. So I've actually got a plate of blueberry muffins over here, and these don't contain any added sugar, so they don't have any sugar substitutes or sugar. They're sweetened with banana and blueberry, and they are pretty sweet. They taste really good. They do have gluten in them. They've got wheat. But the other superfoods that they contain, well, it has olive oil in it, but it's also got almond and oats in it. So got some raw almonds here, and that's the best way to consume almonds is raw. They typically come toasted and salted, and that's the way they taste the best. But raw almonds are really, they have the most amount of nutrients in them. You can obviously eat them just raw as a snack. The only thing I would caution you about is that they are pretty high in calories, so if you're watching your calorie intake, just make sure you're watching what a serving is, and it might be smaller than what you think it is. But they've got a lot of heart-healthy fats in them as well.
So they're better than like walnuts?
They have different properties. Walnuts have a little bitterness to them, so they're really good for digestion, and the bitter properties in walnuts also are like antibacterial a little bit, so it just depends on your purpose for it. And with any kind of food, I would recommend mixing it up. So don't always eat almonds, because that's how people develop intolerances to food. I say the same thing with milks. If you do alternative milks, don't always drink almond. Do the almond and then the coconut, and you can try soy if you're all right with that. But with everything, just mix it up. But they've definitely got different properties to them. But walnuts are great too. I would recommend those as well. The other really cool thing about almonds is that you can make a flour out of them. So if you're kind of doing maybe a low carb or a paleo type diet, almond flour is a great substitute, or gluten free. I'm sure you probably used almond flour in maybe baking, but almond flour pancakes are absolutely delicious. They're really hearty, but they're really, really good. So I'm going to pass this around, and then I'll talk about oats real quick. So the other food that I was going to add into that recipe, and I didn't, was oats. And these are gluten-free oats. And the interesting thing about oats, if you're doing gluten-free, is that oats naturally are gluten-free, but they're processed in factories where gluten is processed. So you have to specifically buy gluten-free oats where they're processed in a different factory. They're really high in fiber, and the great thing about fiber is that it reduces your absorption of cholesterol and fat, so it can help, that's why it helps with weight loss, and also it helps with excretion of toxins. So if you're trying to detox a little bit, increasing your fiber intake will help bind those toxins so you can excrete them more efficiently. Toxins tend to bind to fat, and our bodies are designed by nature to hold on to fat, which is why it's really hard to lose weight. So if you give them something to bind to, the toxins, then it's easier for your body to get rid of it. So oatmeal or oats are definitely a great source of fiber. And you can do a lot of different things with them. You can actually eat them raw. You can throw them in smoothies for a little extra fiber. You can obviously bake with them, and then oatmeal is kind of the traditional way to eat oats, and you can add blueberries and almonds to add a little protein to it. So I'm going to let Marj talk about
Some really fun products that contain almond and oats. This company, Wild Sage, is out of Colorado, and she hand makes her products, so she can do things with her products that maybe some of the other manufacturers can't because it's handmade. And she makes a wonderful almond cleanser for the face, and it does have a little bit of exfoliation effect to it. And she also does an almond and oat face pack, which would be like a mask, and it's also exfoliating as well. And we have a really nice lip balm called Lip Recovery, and it contains almond oil and also avocado oil. Avocado is also a superfood. So I'll pass this around for you.
I think Marj mentioned this, but I've been talking a lot about antioxidants in the food, which are great internally. They can help protect your blood vessels from cardiovascular disease. But one of the things that causes skin cancer is, actually the thing that causes skin cancer is, especially melanoma, is oxidative damage from the sun. So if you are putting antioxidants directly on your skin, it's very protective. If you've got, some kind of discolorations that you might be worried about, putting on antioxidants directly into the skin and they're absorbed into that tissue can help fight some of those free radicals that are there. So I've had some success treating, some kind of suspicious looking skin lesions. My dad had one on his chest, and we did the chaparral salve, which is highly antioxidant. Chaparral is what's the other name? It's that really strong smelling plant in the desert with the little yellow flowers.
Echinacea?
No.
Marigold?
Creosote. creosote. And it's highly antioxidant, so, using those type of products on your skin can be really helpful. So those are all my recipes. I just wanted to talk a little bit about a few other superfoods that I didn't include in my recipes, but that you guys can enjoy at home. Salmon is full of omega-3 fatty acids, which there's several different kinds of omegas, but omega-3 is in the anti-inflammatory pathway, where omega-6 is in the pro-inflammatory. So having a balance of those two is really good, but you want a little bit more omega-3 than omega-6. So salmon is a great way, especially if you're not doing fish oils, to get in some of those omega-3 fatty acids. It's anti-inflammatory, and it's been shown to reduce heart disease. You just want to make sure that you're eating wild-caught salmon and not farm-raised. So if you have questions about the types of fish, I can answer those after. Beans are really high in protein and fiber, so they're a great addition to a lot of different kinds of dishes. Broccoli is in the brassica family, which kale is also in the brassica family, and that can help protect you against breast cancer. It helps with detoxification of estrogens, so especially if you're kind of prone to having excess estrogen, then the brassica family can help you detoxify some of that through your liver. So a serving of broccoli a day is I highly recommend that for women. Organic broccoli is best because it's one of the higher sprayed vegetables. And then we've also got walnuts we talked a little bit about. Those have the bitterness for digestion. Yogurt is full of probiotics, and so they can help balance your gut flora if you've got any digestive issues, gas, bloating, that kind of stuff. And also probiotics can help protect you against cold and flu. So people think it's kind of just a GI supplement, but it can actually help balance your whole system and protect you, when a cold season comes around. Soy can help with hot flashes and menopausal symptoms and reduce cholesterol. Spinach is rich in iron, and then tomatoes we talked about. And then pumpkin is full of carotenoids, so that's another really good food to eat if you have vision problems. And it's also really high in vitamin C, another antioxidant, and Marj has some samples of pumpkin.
This is one of our most popular selling masks, and it is called Pumpkin Enzyme Peel, and it actually smells like a pumpkin pie. And they take the pumpkin and they ferment it, so it's like a pumpkin wine in there to preserve it. But you do need to refrigerate it after you've opened it up, but it's just a wonderful product. So
all right. So those are the ends of the foods that I wanted to talk about today, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about what your health goals are. So I assume that everyone is coming here because they're working on their health in some capacity. So your health goal may have something to do with having increased energy, or losing some weight, or looking and feeling younger, or maybe you've got some joint pain, or you've got high blood sugar, high cholesterol. Again, using nutrition as your medicine, using food as your medicine, is the most basic and powerful thing that you can do to increase your vitality, help yourself feel better. And I'm sure everybody has had those days where they're like, man, I ate so poorly today, and I can just feel it. You feel sluggish. So I hope that this presentation encourages you to introduce some new foods if you haven't tried them before, to try some new recipes that I've given out, and just in general to try and adopt a little bit of a healthier lifestyle. I practice just down the street at the Women's Health and Healing Center with another naturopathic medical doctor, and again, I focus mostly on women, but I see everybody from babies to 93-year-old grandmothers. And I see men as well, so I really truly do a family practice. And some of the things that I'm most excited about are acupuncture. If you've got any kind of pain, knee pain, low back pain, it has been, proven out in the research that acupuncture is great for low back pain. We've got other things that we can do in conjunction with that. I really enjoy doing herbal medicine. If anybody's ever taken any kind of botanical medicine, it can be really powerful, and the nice thing about it is that it can be completely designed for what your health needs are. So if you've got high cholesterol and you have migraines and you may be suffering from a little bit of hot flashes or menopausal symptoms, there's one formula that can help you with all of those. And so it's really exciting to be able to do that for people instead of saying, oh, you got to take, here's a pill for that, and here's a pill for that, and here's a pill for that, and you end up with 50 pills. I also offer yearly visits, pap smears, that kind of stuff, just physicals for men and children, and we do IV and injection therapy. So if you're interested in IV nutrient bags, they can really help you feel a lot better, especially if you're feeling a little run down. You can come in for an hour treatment, and we can get you out and feeling a lot better after those, and get a little rehydration.
Is that the same as a Myers cocktail?
That is, yeah. So a Myers cocktail is a pretty broad definition. There's nothing super specific about it. So it can be tailored to what your needs are. So you can add extra vitamin C if your immune system is a little low, or if you look like you might be deficient in B vitamins and you're feeling kind of run down, we can add a little bit of more of those. So
may I ask how much those cost?
They start at 120. So we've got, and it just depends on what's in there. Some of the nutrients are a little more expensive, so the cost goes up from there. But it's an hour-long treatment. Generally, might be a little longer than that. We also do injection therapy, so B12 shots. I do a fat burner shot, and those are very easy and quick. You can come in and get out with those. We offer quite a bit over there. I also offer a free 15-minute Meet the Doctor visit. So if you're interested, you can come in, and there's no obligation. You can meet with me and we can talk about your health concerns, and I can let you know where we can go from there. So, I really appreciate Marj letting us use her space, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Well, I want to thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Kim,
thank
for this
you.
wonderful presentation.
I have
Everyone
fun.
for coming.
Thank you.